Hello out there, and today we're going to be taking a relatively quick look at this Spyderco Positron. And this positron is the KnifeCenter.com exclusive version, a limited edition that has S35 VN blade steel and orange G10 handle scales, as opposed to the S30 V steel and carbon fiber scales that were on the base model. But before we get into the knife, I do have a couple quick shout outs that I want to do. A couple people that I want to talk about and sort of link to some of their stuff down below. Starting with Ray over at the EDCC, Everyday City Carry. Now, Ray's been a good friend, a really good supporter for a long time, and over the past couple weeks, I have just started to really appreciate his work on a different level. If you haven't seen his videos, they're an event, there's something you should definitely check out. Like I said, I'll link down below, but he has a level of production quality and just a creativity that makes his content different from almost everything else that's out there. And over the past few weeks, as I've been working on this D2 testing video and trying to edit all of the footage together and just been way over my head, way over my head with this stuff, I've just come to even appreciate his stuff more because of the amount of time that it must take in order to make content like that. You know, I'm just trying to splice together clips and edit stuff down and create one cohesive video that, honestly, guys, I wanted to post that today and I'm just not there yet. You know, I'm just behind on it because it takes so much time, just going through all of the footage and, you know, looking at the videos that Ray posts. It must be the same way for him. So that amount of time to make that quality content, again, it's just something I'm seeing on a different level right now. So definitely check him out if you haven't already. The other people I want to talk about, though, it comes right back to the Positron because two of my buddies, Moose's Gear Guru Review and Baz on Blades, have both posted reviews of this knife in the past couple weeks. Now, Moose did one on the base model. So if there are differences between, you know, this sprint run and the base model, maybe, you know, he'll have a little bit more insight to his thoughts on that original positron. But Baz posted a video just a couple days ago about this specific variation. And I haven't watched his yet because when I'm doing a review or about to do a review, I try to isolate myself from other people's opinions on the knife just so I can formulate my own ideas. But Baz is a guy I trust. You know, his opinion is always, even when it's one I don't agree with, it's always well thought out and it's sound. And yeah, I always like to hear what he has to say. So check out his thoughts on this positron as well. And I definitely will be as soon as I post this video. But now let's get into the knife itself. And this is one that was sent to me on loan from my buddy, the Lawn Ranger. And it was the one that, of all the knives he sent me, of all the nice stuff that came my way, thanks to him, this was the one I was the most interested in because when the positron came out, there were just two sides to the feedback about it. There were people who really liked it, and there were people who hated it. And I mean, this knife was bashed on a level that I don't usually see. You know, there are people, obviously, with every model that just don't care for it, and that's fine. But I mean, there are people that were just full of hate in reviews for this knife and just didn't understand it. And guys, I gotta tell you, you know, I was really curious to find out what side of the fence I would be on, and I'm actually on the side of the fence of, I don't like this knife. I don't get it. I'm surprised at Spyderco that they would put this knife out with some of just the glaring issues that I see in it. And we'll get to all that, but I want to start with what makes this knife appealing. And there's one thing that just really resonates with me, and it's the blade shape. So S35 VN on the Sprint versus S30V, not really a big deal. The difference to me, you know, like everybody knows I prefer S30V, so S35 VN is great, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I mean is just the actual shape and design of the blade. And I don't know what to call it, and I've never really quite figured it out, but any blade that has a big plunge down from the spine towards the tip, and then a similar one as we like curve up from the belly to make this nice refined point, it's got to be my favorite blade shape. And I don't know the exact name for it, if there is a name for it, but there's a few models that I just hold near and dear to me that do the same thing. And these are just a couple that I pulled out. You can see, you know, almost comes to like a triangular beaky kind of point with how it just plunges down at this point and then comes up from the belly. This new rake that I got just a couple months ago sort of does the same thing. And I just really like that look. It's just attractive, it's functional, it's a great, great blade shape. Now, that's sort of where the good stuff ends. I mean, that's it. That's really all I got. I guess the lockup on the knife is good. Yeah, the lockup's good. One other thing, actually, before I get into some of the things I don't care for, one thing that is really nicely executed on this knife is the nesting of the liners and the scales. Now, the scales are thick, but I mean, you can hardly see where that nesting begins because it's so flush. I mean, it's executed nicely. So there's that. But getting to the issues with the knife, it's all about the scales and the handle and the ergonomics. First of all, the knife for me just doesn't feel good in hand. It's not particularly comfortable. It's blocky. And then on top of that, you know, these polished G10 scales, it doesn't really work for me. You know, every aspect from the blockiness to the smoothness, it just doesn't help ergonomics in any way. And what I'm like really trying to get is, you know, a spot of contact, a point of contact. And honestly, the best place, the knife feels the best in the hand on these screws, these body screws, because my pinky can sort of get a little bit of traction there. But everywhere else, it just isn't working. The clip is a 2-position clip. It does dig into my palm a little bit if I'm carrying it right-handed, which I'm usually not. I'm carrying it left-handed, and so for me, that actually is not that bad of a thing because I don't have that same issue. But I don't know, just not a lot of real estate, and the real estate that's there just isn't very good. Can't really choke up because this choil isn't really big enough for that. The jimping is actually pretty grippy. So, I mean, for maybe a lightweight task, you know, you can get a pretty good lock on it up there. But that position, this position right here, is the one where the clip just digs in the most. So, ergonomically, some trouble. The biggest trouble, though, the thing that just makes the least amount of sense to me, is how hard this knife is to disengage. The liner lock is, like, recessed so far down, and the scales are so thick that you have to dig in your thumb pretty far to disengage it, and it's uncomfortable, and it's just something that functionally, I mean, the knife still works just fine, but I think for the price point that these were being sold at, for, you know, $150, I think $160, it just really isn't worth it. You know, just, you shouldn't see stuff like this. And these scales, even though to the eye, you know, might be attractive if orange is your color, and, you know, a lot of people might not mind the glossiness of the G10, they're just blocky. It just seems like, you know, it seems like some of those photos you see online of people saying, hey, I made my first custom set of scales, what do you think? And you say, great job, because, you know, for a first attempt, this is a great set of scales. But for something that's refined and has the Spyderco name and is supposed to be, you know, sort of like a high-end gents piece, I just don't see it. You know, I don't get it. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, which is why this isn't going to be like a 20-minute review. I'm not going to just, you know, go through the entire knife, because I'm sure a lot of this has already been said. But, you know, just having this knife, just something this interesting, I wanted to get my take out there. One more thing. The opening and closing of the knife, the flipping action, isn't particularly great. It works, and sometimes when it does work, it's good. It's pretty smooth. It doesn't drop shut or anything. And if you, like, can't really, like, I guess it's light switch is what you're going to do. And when you do that, it generally opens pretty well. But there are times where, you know, if you just don't catch it right, that, you know, it's not going to open all the way. What I did realize, though, is that this thumb hole actually is really good for the Spidey flick. And that's probably an unintentional plus. And looking at it, you wouldn't think you'd be able to get your finger in there. But actually, like, your middle finger can dig right in there. And, yeah, that's actually pretty good. So again, an unintentional way of making this knife deploy faster, which is good, but it shouldn't be that way. You know, the flipping action should be better than it is. You know, you just have to be mindful and forceful with opening in order to get it to work every time. Otherwise, guys, I don't know, I just can't recommend this thing. And the reason why I wanted to make this video, you know, there are a couple knives that the Lawn Ranger sent me that I'm not actually going to review or anything, but I did want to make this video primarily because I've seen that these things are still on Knife Center, and they're available for like 90 bucks the last time I saw, like on sale, like deep discounts, right? And I got to tell you, at 90 bucks, I still would pass. And that's sort of the point that I want to get across. I think there are better knives for $90 that you can get, better knives for $70 that you can get. You know, this just is one of those things that makes me question, like how did this even get out of the factory? And yeah, it's just one of those knives that I'm just not impressed with, and it's a departure, I think, from the quality that I'm used to and expect from Spyderco. So if you've had this knife, guys, if you've checked it out, let me know down below what your thoughts are. If you've had the carbon fiber version, is it different from this? Are these issues the same? You know, obviously there's a lot of other videos that I can revisit and get some more feedback, but I want to hear from you about it. So let me know your thoughts. Any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. Like I said, editing the D2 video, so we'll get some of that coming to you in just another couple days. Thanks for your patience on that, but otherwise, I will talk with you soon. Have a good one.